Welcome all F1 2011 fans to the 5th episode of I Am No Expert. I'm your host Jack Acid and your driver, unfortunately for you, starting this first season in career mode with Force India. And as you can see, I've cut down the time for this intro, much to your pleasure, I'm sure. So this is my first race in Spain using no line and manual gears and also using cockpit view, which is how I've been racing the last couple races, and it's all new to me. So gonna see what I can do here in Spain. You can see my objective is to finish 9th. Starting grid, Sebastian Vettel on pole yet again. I guess this really is 2011. McLaren right behind, starting to see a trend here. And I qualified P17, horrible. And my teammate, Sutil, qualified 14th. So this is the first time I've been out-qualified by Sutil. Perhaps the ghosts of Catalunya in 2010 are getting to me. We'll have to wait and see. Taking a look at our setup here to start. And this setup I think I actually got from f1setup.com, which is another resource for setups. It's not quite as, there's not as many options as you'd find on Race Department or possibly even Codemasters forums, but it's at least worth checking out. I try almost every setup that I find posted just to see what works best for me. But Catalunya is difficult for me, so it may not make that much of a difference. And I'm still feeling the pain from a disappointing race in Turkey where I finished 11th. It was my first race out of the points. And basically just a victim of a couple of lapses in concentration late that cost me some positions, so my qualifying result here in Spain did not improve my confidence, so pace could very well be an issue here for me. Although my teammate did qualify well, so maybe... Whoa, very close call there with Buemi, and it slowed down a little bit too early, slow up the field, and very, very hard into corner 1. No damage done, it looks like. No warning either. Whoa, very close call with Petrov, so... very, very close to taking off a wing, and there goes Perez on the inside, and that puts him in P12, but only for a moment. This corner is very difficult for me. Perez able to hang on the outside, and now I'm being sandwiched. I believe that's Weber, and I'm able to get beyond Perez and up to P12, but he's still very, very close, and now he finally falls back. Now I'm already feeling some pressure. I'm only about halfway through lap 1. And chasing Petrov here. And as a quick correction, I'm sure that wasn't Weber back there who I almost got caught between Perez and him. It was probably Toro Rosso. Whoa, very bold move on the inside, cutting off Petrov. And that's a clean overtake. And I'm able to get up to P11 chasing Massa now. Let's see if I can get him around these corners that are typically pretty slow. It's a matter of staying in front of him without contact. And yes, I'm able to get by Massa. Think about it with Kobayashi, but decide not to, and get very used to seeing Kobayashi. He is a very, very prominent player in this race, as you will see. So there we have it, end of lap 1. Taking a quick look at the gaps, trailing Kobayashi by just under 0.7 seconds. And my dearest friend Kobayashi, who I have a feeling may not speak to me at the end of this race, after we're leaving the steward's office. I won't spoil any more than that, but let's just say that Kobayashi and I spent a lot of time together on this race. So coming up here to the last corner, this is a very hard chicane for me. Almost hit Kobayashi, sort of an ugly little cut on the inside there that does me no good, and not able to get around him. And I've noticed a trend in my previous races where it seems like lap 9 is typically my fastest lap. And, oh, very, very close call there on the outside of Kobayashi. That was a swoop pass. I could feel the wind coming around that. But anyway, strangely in this race, this was my fastest lap. So I usually like to show my fastest lap just to kind of see what I did right that makes it the fastest lap. That's part of how I learn the track itself, because I don't have the brake line, or it's not the brake lines, but the main racing line memorized. I don't really know it. Right now I have the benefit of watching these cars, but when you're out in front or when there's no one in front of you, you have to kind of know where to go. So that's why I show these particular laps. And after I do my second season, I can go back and compare all these and see if I've improved. Although when you think about the amount of time that it takes to complete a full season in career mode, you start to realize that you go a very long time between these circuits. In other words, by the time I race in Catalunya next year, I'll have gone through the entire length of this season and the beginning of next, and it's many, many hours in between. So it takes a long time to really have a good feel for the circuits, unless you're running a lot of time trials or Grand Prix mode or multiplayer or things of that nature. But I definitely spend most of my time in career mode, unless I'm playing with my friend in a co-op season that we play pretty casually. And here's where things start to get reasonably ugly. Just absolute battles for my life. You can see I go wide here. That's a very, very difficult corner for me, and both Petrov and Kobayashi are able to get around me on the inside. And I go a little bit wide there too, and that's going to leave Massa with a look, but he's not able to get around me there. And that's dropped me back to P11, and feeling a lot of pressure here only in lap 4. So my only real hope, I'm thinking at this point, of at least trying to get back into the points until I can at least pit, is to try and get around Kobayashi, and you can see Massa is right behind me, able to keep this corner on track. I do tend to go wide there off and on, as you can see in the full-length race video, which is located on my channel if you prefer to watch every lap. And now I present to you the ugliest overtake in F1 history. Yeah, that was contact for sure. No comment from the stewards, must have been a bump, but definitely a lot more aggressive than I should have been, and you will soon see that I did not learn my lesson at all about that. So Kobayashi giving me some fits here down in the straight, see if I can get him at the braking zone. Yes, able to stay ahead of him, and Massa also right there with us. But I'm able to swing back into P10 here in lap 5, which is my pit stop lap. And this is a really, really hard sweep for me. This whole series of corners for me, I definitely do not have mastered. And there were many times over where this particular corner I would get passed on because I would run a little bit wide. And here too, you can see that's one of the widest I've run the entire race, and there goes Kobayashi, making me pay for it. That's okay, I'll just sideswipe him and take P10 back for myself, thanks. Just so you know, I don't actually race this aggressive. I try and race as clean as possible, although I do admit I tend to make mistakes. It's hard to know exactly when the AI is going to break, and especially my first go in this view, definitely learning how the AI behaves. So I'm coming into pit here in the end of this lap, or at the end of lap 5, and you can see that Kobayashi has come in behind me. So we will be dueling out of the gates as soon as we get out of pit lane. See how well the team performs here. 4.7 seconds. It's actually pretty average for this game, even though the real-life pit stops are much shorter. Maybe that'll be something they address in 2012. So I'm out on the cold blue tires here in P15, and looking at how much time is left, just under halfway point. Definitely going to be difficult for me to get into the points. Again, the team objective or expectation is P9, and that seems unlikely. And Sauber, as with most of this race, is all over me here. And this is the slowest part of the track for me easily. So as long as I can maintain inside position, I can usually keep them behind me, but it is only a matter of time before Kobayashi is going to challenge me there, or a number of other places. I'm also tend to be a little bit slow up here. I don't exactly have the gears worked out for that corner, and you can see there that Kobayashi almost gets by me. We actually had a little bit of contact. And I do my best ole to let Kobayashi by. That drops me down to P16, but I do have the advantage of these slow corners coming up, and I know that I told you that the last pass up here was the ugliest in F1 history, but I actually lied. This is the ugliest. And you can see it's actually a near identical pass, and once again, no warning from the stewards. I am, of course, playing with full rules and regulations, so no real explanation why the stewards haven't made any comment to me. I guess I'm going around slow enough, but it certainly feels severe. And again, Kobayashi getting past me on the straight here, and someone else was right behind us there, but able to stay ahead of him into P13. So I've basically been able to get back in front of Kobayashi on that corner every time. But here we're heading up to the dreaded part of this sector for me. And there you have it. Go a little bit wide. That's going to let Kobayashi by. And now we'll see who's all over me. Oh, and there goes my wing. So, alright, slight damage, so that means that I'm not going to have to pit. But, like I said, Kobayashi and I did not play nice. And it's been mostly my fault, but I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, you saw how much he slowed down there, and now you can see the Sauber actually pulling away from me, and I am starting to lose my focus. I'm definitely feeling some pressure, I'm feeling some heat. Ooh, and more contact with the Sauber, but this time no more damage done, but I did bump him, and I'm able to get around him there at the hairpin, so back up into P13, and boy, I did not realize exactly how many problems he and I had with one another. Or he had with me. I guess I should be more honest about it. Until I was able to assemble this. So, running P13 here, heading into lap 8. And this would be Kamui's final opportunity to get around me. We're skipping ahead to the end of lap 8. And I'm still running P13. Go a little wide there, down along the straight. And here's where Kobayashi should be able to pull away from me. You can see that I am running the high fuel mix. And it's a train of 3 here with Kobayashi, myself, and Buemi. And once again, and finally, I'm able to get by Kamui, or stay ahead of Kamui, for the last time in the race. And you can see Sutil is running a couple of positions back from me, so even though I probably won't get in the points, I will at least, hopefully, unless I have another off, stay ahead of Sutil. And so here we are, coming into the final couple corners in the last lap. I was not able to climb from 13th. Vettel wins yet again. And I'm going to finish ahead of not Kobayashi, but rather Buemi, who's behind me in position 14. So overall, pretty disappointing result. Was really hoping to have a stronger comeback after Turkey. But Catalunya proved to be a bit more of a challenge than I'd expected. So looking at the final results here, you can see I'm finished P13, Vettel with McLaren behind, Schumacher finishing 4th, Aguilasari finishing just ahead of me, and Felipe Massa getting the last of the points in P10, and Jarno didn't finish. So I'm going to go ahead and leave you guys with some race highlights, and while we do that, I just want to point out something that you may have already noticed. I'm actually going to be posting all of my commentary videos through Mystery Gamers Sports YouTube channel, and it's a collective group of sports commentators. You should check out all their channels. They have more than just sports, but also RPGs and all different types of games, so I would check out their network if you're interested in listening to commentary for other games. And I'll be posting with them for quite a while, but I will be maintaining my own channel still, which can be found in the description, and I'll be posting Forza videos, the full-length videos for these races, as well as other miscellaneous F1 related videos. So hopefully you can keep up with me over there as well. So I'm going to leave you guys to it here, and we'll see if I'm able to gain any ground in Monaco, but truth be known, I don't typically race well at Monaco, as I think is true for a lot of people. So might not be able to rebound this season until Montreal, but we'll have to wait and see. So until then, thanks again for watching, and I will see you in Monte Carlo.